All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Uncle Aaron Wilson here at My Mortgage Trainer. And today what we're doing is we're going through a review process for you guys to get you guys situated and ready to take the NMLS Safe Act test. Now, you guys just completed the Safe 20 online instructor-led course. And so I invited you guys to come out today, and a couple of you have showed up, which is great because we're recording this today for the rest of the people that couldn't be here because, as you know, this was an impromptu, hey, let's make this happen kind of review session. So you're here today because I want to talk to you guys about the SAFE test itself. And, you know, look, I think everybody wishes that the NMLS actually handed me the SAFE Act test so that I could, you know, teach to that. But that's not the way it works. And so we've got this really broad spectrum of material that you guys have to know in order to be prepared for this exam. And now, Nigel, I know that you've been in the business for a little bit of time. And Teresa, I'm not really sure what your past experiences. I probably should ask you ahead of time before we got going here. But if you want to, you can hit me on the chat log because it would be nice to see if we have like varying degrees of experience to the mortgage industry. Because I will tell you guys, that's pretty typical of what we see, you know, out there in the marketplace. You know, we have the average age of a mortgage loan originator is 54 years old. And so it's, you know, it's not a lot of, you know, young blood in this industry, not to say that 54 is old, you guys, because I'm knocking on that door myself. But the point is that, you know, we have a lot of times we have people that have been in the business. It's almost like you got in and you couldn't get out kind of thing, right, Nigel? And now you're being attracted back. So anyway, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to point you in the right direction. Now, when you guys finished this course earlier this morning, I sent you guys a link to a page that I had built. So I'm going to reference that page, but I want to talk a little bit about the exam itself and some of the resources that are available to you. So one of the things you did is you just went through this 20-hour course, right? And it's like, okay, so do I need to, Aaron, to study? Do I need to go back in and click through all these screens to prepare myself for the exam? And the answer is absolutely not. Don't do that. That is not a good way to study. Okay, because first of all, you have to understand there's a difference between taking the course and preparing yourself to take the exam, because although you would hope that they are one and the same, they aren't exactly one and the same. Okay, so having said that, you're not really going to want to, excuse me, nor will you necessarily be able to go back and access screen by screen by screen what you just did over the 20 hours if you did an online instructor-led course. Now, what you do have access to resource-wise are things that you are going to need. Number one is the course book. So there is a PDF of the course book available in your course itself, all right? And you can access that, of course. What I would do is if you can download it as a PDF and have it available. And I'm going to show you guys a couple little cool features you can use within the book as you're looking for things. But that's one resource. The second resource you're going to have is, of course, you've got some practice material within your actual account. So you're going to have one test that's going to be called an ungraded review. So Nigel and Teresa, when you look at that and you think, well, ungraded review, what is that? Well, basically, we're going to force you guys to get 100%. Okay, so as you're going through and you're looking at questions, we're throwing a question out at you. And when you answer, it's going to come back. And if you got the wrong answer, it's going to make you keep guessing until you get it right. And it's going to provide you some feedback. Okay, so that is an ungraded review. So it forces you to get 100%. Okay. So that's in your study material for everybody that's on here or everybody that views this at a later date, just so you know. The second thing you're going to see in your account is you're going to see graded practice exams, okay? Now, the graded practice exams are set up, I think it probably even says like 99%. And the reason why it does that is because it's like, do you have to get a 99 to pass this thing? Well, if you did get a 99, yes, it would pass you, but we set it at 99 so you can take it multiple times if you wanted to. Now, we only give you 5 chances of that. Now, you might be saying to yourself, whoa, Aaron, that's not enough. Well, it is. One of the things you don't want to do is something that I said in the previous video that I gave you guys, and that is you don't want to spend a whole bunch of time taking a bunch of practice exams because you will get in this habit, okay? You will get in this habit of starting to try to memorize practice test questions that we are providing to you in the practice exams. And that is the wrong way to go. And the reason why I say that is this, okay? And, well, you guys, you'll end up trying to memorize practice questions, and they're not the actual practice exam. There's just no other way to say it to you, you know? It's just human nature. It's like, I got to know the answer to that question. What is it? And then you're going to go through it again. You're going to go through your missed questions, and then you're going to freak out, and you're going to email me, and you're going to say, Aaron, what's the answer to these questions? I don't know what's going on. I'm freaking out. Stop, okay? All right. Now, you will take some practice exams, and if you're getting, in that, 80, 90% range, then great. But don't freak out if you don't get 80, 90%. Okay, I'm just telling you. All right, so let me give you some resources. I'm going to share some screens with you, okay? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here real quick, and I'm going to go to share my screen, and where we're going at this particular moment. And again, if you guys have questions that are on here, feel free to ask the questions if you have any while we're going through this. But the first thing I'm trying to show you guys here is a really important piece. And that is, first of all, if you have any questions about how do I take the test? How does this work? Okay. There's a link here for the handbook. So this is as of August 21st, 2019. So if you're watching this a little bit later, that link will go to the most updated one. Okay. But in this handbook, what you're going to see in the table of contents is it's pretty specific here. How do I enroll for the test? Well, these are questions that I get after people finish the course material as well. How do I enroll? So those questions will all be answered right here. How to enroll for the test? What's the process? Well, I got to create an NMLS account. Okay, so do I have an NMLS ID number? If I don't, then how do I get one? Once you have that, how do I enroll? What's the cost to enroll? What's my window? Now, window is, I took the education here, I've enrolled for the test, how long do I have to take that exam? So those are all things that you would see within this course. And it's not a lot of information. You'd see it's on pretty much the same pages here. How do I schedule? So we don't administer the exam. The NMLS does not administer the exam. There's a third-party entity that administers the exam. So when you go to take the exam, you're going to actually go to a Prometric location. To sign up for the exam, you're going to go to a Prometric's website, and that's what you're going to see in here, and you're going to look for the sponsor of the exam, which is the NMLS, and you'll schedule to take the exam. Now, we'll tell you as well, it used to be that you would take a federal exam, and then you would take a state exam, okay? Now you don't do that because of the UST, which brings me to the next point in the study material that you have. Also in your account is the UST practice material. That's the study guide and practice exam. You're gonna have to go through that material as well. Okay, it's in your account right now. You gotta go through that, you guys, because, okay, that is about 13 to 15% of your exam. Because what they did is they got rid of all the state law exams, and they managed to talk all the states into allowing them to put questions into the federal exam. And if you pass that portion of questions, you are thought to have passed a state law exam for every single state in the nation. That's really good news for you guys, because now you don't have to take separate exams, right? That's the last thing you want to do, Nigel, is go state to state to state to state, right? Doing all that fun stuff. So anyway, that's kind of cool. So make sure you guys go through the third thing I'm telling you that you've got in your account, which is UST study guide and practice exam. Now, the practice exam on the UST study guide, I'm going to tell you on that one, go ahead and take that 5 times. Make sure you got those questions down, because you should be able to ace those, okay? You should be able to ace those. And the reason why I say that is, A, the material is just pretty straightforward, okay? And so it's going to be a lot of factual-based questions. It's going to be matter of fact. Versus when you get into the federal piece, okay, there's more room for, what's the word I'm looking for? Ambiguity, right? Because when you think about like how RESPA works and the fact that you can't pay somebody for a referral, But yet for some strange reason, in the marketplace, you can buy leads. Otherwise, places like LendingTree wouldn't exist. So what's the difference between buying leads and paying for referrals, right? So there's a lot of ambiguity that they could throw at you on the federal exam questions versus the UST study guide, and UST questions are going to be very matter of fact. So do make sure that you take that, look at that study guide. It includes MAPS in there, which is another law that you'll need to look at. It includes UDAP in there. There's just a couple short pieces in there, and it will include the e-sign, okay, electronic signatures. So it's just a little blip that you need to look at, and then take that practice exam a couple times so you get those in your head. And you're like, oh yeah, these are matter of fact. I got that. Okay, that's cool. All right, let me go back to this for a second. Okay, so that's how you schedule, how you reschedule if you need accommodations, things like that. Let's see. Also, test day, what to bring, all that fun stuff. Okay, well, you know what? Don't bring much of anything. I'll tell you that right now, because listen, it's a very sterile environment, okay? It's a very sterile environment. And what I mean by that is, well, they are, when you walk in, they're going to make you empty your pockets. They're going to check to make sure that you guys don't have something in your pockets that might represent like something that would help you cheat. So you can't take in your cell phone, you can't take in your own calculator, you can't take in your notes, anything like that. Anything you do have, they're going to make you put it in your car, or they're going to make you put it in a locker. You're going to turn your pockets inside out. It's going to be a fairly sterile environment, where you are going to be checked. They're going to hand you a piece of paper and a pencil. They're going to walk you in. They're going to sign you in. That pencil and piece of paper, you have to return to them on the way back out. Okay? Now, you can utilize that, of course, for notes, things like that, things to jog your memory, to do the math, all that fun stuff, but you still got to turn it back in. All right? So the test center, again, is going to be very, very sterile environment for you guys. Now, you got about 3.5 hours to take the exam. I would say take your time on that exam. If you finish within an hour and you're like, oh, man, this is easy, you probably did something really wrong. Okay? And what I mean by that is you probably fell for the trick, the types of tricks that they can do in any exam that will mess your brain up. Okay, and those are some of the techniques I do want to talk about today. And then, of course, this thing goes on to tell you what will happen if you failed it. So that's one thing you want to look at, okay? I'm going to go back to sharing my screen here. Now, there is, if you didn't order the flashcard kit and you think you learn good with flashcards, there's an online flashcard kit you can order here. It'll take you there. You don't have to have those. If you already have them in your account, that's fine. If you need them, you can call our office. I think you can pick them up for $59 or something like that. And there's about 300 or 400 flashcards that you can look at over and over as well. Okay. Obviously, we'd love for you to leave some comments and tell us that you thought we were fantastic and all that fun stuff. Here's where you can click to log into your account. Let's take you straight to the login page where you can log in and get that extra material that I'm talking about. And then that's the MLO testing handbook. Now, I'm going to go back here again. Okay. Click here to get the test outline. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a little secret weapon here, okay? All right. So I gave you guys a copy of our trainer study guide notes. What is that? So number one, and actually let me come back to this. Number one, you have the course book PDF, right? You took the course, we got the course PDF. Then I sent you a set of trainer's notes. And the trainer's notes, what I did, you guys, is we went through the course book, we went through the course outline, and we pulled out the things in the book that the NMLS says are test worthy, okay? And then what we did is we tried to create you a condensed version of the book, because otherwise you're going to be rifling through 300 plus pages trying to figure out what do I need to know, right? And maybe you just don't need to know all that stuff. So we've tried to condense that down. I would suggest to you that you print those notes off, take them everywhere you go, make sure you're in them, you know them forwards and backwards. And I will tell you this one thing more than anything else, you guys. It's about the content. It's about the content and understanding the concepts over memorizing questions that are not the actual test questions. And that's the key to passing, okay? It's understanding the content. Now, having said that, let me move you back to where I was just at. This is the test outline. Now, this is published by the NMLS. You guys, this is your other secret weapon right here. If you want to know what's on the exam, it's right here, okay? There are 17 pages. I'm going to go fast and I'll come back. Sorry. I know that probably looks crazy on your screen. But there are 17 pages right here, okay? And these 17 pages are what's on the exam. This is the outline. So if you want to know what's on the exam, you need to understand that you need to be in this test outline, okay? Now, here's the breakdown. 23% is federal-related mortgage law. 23% is general mortgage knowledge. 25% is mortgage loan originator activities. 16% ethics. 13% uniform state content. I think I just told you 15, but so it's 13. Excuse me. Now, this 23 and this 16, okay, really this 23 federal law, 16 ethics, that's really together. That's 39%. Because all of your ethics are based on your understanding of the federal law, okay? So really, this is 39%. Because again, this is based on your understanding of whether or not it is ethical or not. So it would not be unlikely for you guys to see something that had a scenario-based question and then they asked you, Teresa, is this ethical? And is it legal and ethical? Illegal, unethical. Legal, but unethical. Illegal, but ethical. Okay, and those are the types of questions that mess your brain up because you got this scenario, they're giving you 4 things that all kind of sound the same, but they're a jumbled up mess, and your brain doesn't know how to handle it, right? So in those scenarios, if you don't understand the federal law, you are going to have a tough time deciding whether or not something is legal and ethical or not. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little tip from your Uncle Aaron. I cannot see a situation in the mortgage industry. And Nigel, you've been in this business before, so feel free to turn your mic on here and talk to me. I cannot see a single situation in the mortgage industry, Nigel, you tell me if you agree, where something that is illegal in the mortgage industry is going to be ethical in the mortgage industry, right?
Yeah, that's correct. A lot of it's just common sense.
Yeah. So I think that when you get those types of questions, you guys, the thing is you're right. You got to deploy the common sense if you can. You got to go through that and you got to look at this and you got to ask yourself, okay, find the one thing, you know, is it legal? Does this scream that this is legal to you? Well, then if it's legal, then is it legal and ethical or legal and unethical? Okay. So, and those situations could exist. You can have something that's legal and ethical and legal but unethical. Okay, but you're never going to have a situation where something's illegal in our industry and somehow it's ethical. That's not happening.
Yeah, that's not going to happen ever.
Not happening. Right. All right. Thanks for that agreement here. I'm going to go back here real quick to this test outline. Now, here's a little trick that I'm going to show you guys, okay? Here's a trick. Okay, so you're going through here and you're like, okay, here's my law. It's 23% of the exam, but look at this. This is 1, 2, 3 full pages, 4, 4.5 pages of federal law, but it's only 23% of the exam. So what they're doing is they're going through here, and let me give an example of something like, all right, so here, like ECOA. These are the possible questions or topics that they could ask you questions on in ECOA. They're telling you this. Now, I'll give you an example of something, okay? Let's see, like, let's just choose something random. Here we go. Definition of elderly. All right, Teresa, Nigel, do you know what the definition of elderly is right now? Now, you just went through some material, but right now your brain might not be telling you what the actual definition is. Can either one of you come up with a specific definition you think might get you through an exam here? So, you know, again, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. But here's the trick. Let me show you the trick. You ready? Watch this. So it's ECOA, right? It's the definition of elderly, right? All right, we're going to drop all the way down here. Okay? This is why it's so important to have this available to you electronically. And I would print this form out, you guys. I would print this form out right here and have it available. And I would take a pencil, okay, that I can erase with, whatever. And I would write anywhere that there was a topic I wasn't sure what it was. Like let's say, for example, you didn't know what the definition of elderly was. Well, you're going to go look it up, and you're going to write the definition next to it, okay? Something that jogs your memory. Now, here's how you're going to find this. You're going to drop all the way down to the bottom to the resources, okay? Here's ECOA right here. Click on it. It's going to take you into the Code of Regulations, okay? Now, here is your content of the law, or you can scroll through the whole doggone law, right? So, but here's a cool feature. You don't want to read all this, right? So watch this. You're going to go here. You're just going to click on the page. And you're going to hit Control F. Control F. And you're going to type in elderly. Okay? And guess what? It pops up 21 times. But fortunately for us, the very first time that it popped up is exactly what we needed. There's your answer. Elderly means age 62 or older. Okay? So anytime you run into a problem, on the actual, you're looking through the content outline and you're not sure and you can't find it in my content. You can't find it in my notes. You can't find it. Where is it? You're going to drop down here. You're going to find the topic that you're talking about. Is it do not call? Is it Fair Credit Reporting Act? What is it? Is it Reg X of RESPA? And you're going to click on it. It's going to take you to the resources. If you got a question about ABAs, for example, you're going to hit Control F. And you're going to say affiliated business, arrangements. Okay, well, there it is in the topics, but it pops up 4 times. So there's the actual topic right there. And where does it pop up? Okay. And then you can click through until you find out what area you're looking for. And this is probably what you're looking for right here. What is an ABA? How do I know if I'm in an affiliated business arrangement? So, All right. Teresa, you can turn your mic on too. What do you think of that? What do you think of that little hack I just showed you? What do you guys think?
I think it makes a difference because obviously when you go through the outline, you're going to know, ooh, I need to go refresh my memory on that.
Right. And you guys have to.
And it's a quick find.
It is. It's a quick find. Just to Control F when you get on those pages, okay? And then just keep looking until you figure it out. And then if you know it's just something that just didn't jog in your memory, even though you went through content for 20 hours over a 7-day window or over a 3-day window, however you took the course, because there's a webinar version as well, you're still going to have holes, We're going to have holes in there somewhere. We need something to jog our memory. We need some way to find it. But that outline is the other key to getting you through. So if you ask me, Aaron, if you're telling me don't take a bunch of practice exams, then how am I going to feel so prepared for this? You're going to go to that outline and the notes and the course book and whatever you need to do, and you're going to put all the different things in there, and that's where you're going to spend your time. I would tell you that that's more valuable to you than anything else, than taking practice exams. It really is. Now, it's going to take a little bit of time, and I know that most people will schedule their test about 7 to 10 days from the date that they finish the course. And so you're going to have to put some time and effort into making sure you guys have this together. But I'm telling you, that little hack right there is huge. It was worth your price of admission today to this course. Teresa, what'd you pay today?
Almost $300.
No, it was free. I invited you for free. The course,
Oh, for
yes,
that.
the course is like
Excuse me.
$300. Yeah. How much
Duh.
was free? So anyway, so that's why I was saying it's worth the price of admission to find a hack like that or something that can get you through, right? Now, let me give you guys a couple extra tips, okay? Questions, okay?
I have a quick question.
Yes, go for it, Nigel.
Pull F, that's on a PC. What is it on a Mac?
Oh, Teresa, do you know? I don't use a Mac.
I have a regular computer.
So
I'll
you don't,
figure it out.
Nigel, you don't have a like some type of search key feature you would do. It'd be the same feature you would do on like, you know, on anything else. Like
Yeah.
even if you had a PDF open, do you have a search feature that you can use in that?
Yeah, I didn't know if that was a shortcut key, but I'll figure it out.
I don't know. I don't know. You stumped me on that one because I'm not an Apple user. So apologize for that. Teresa, you have any questions before I go on to this question thing that I want to go over?
No, sir.
Okay, let's talk questions, okay? And I want to talk about question structure. And I want to talk about when you're taking the exam, how to deal with questions. The first thing I want to tell you is this. As I said a little bit ago, you got a little bit over 3 hours to take this exam. Take your time. They're all multiple choice, okay? You'll have that piece of paper you can use when you have math questions, things like that, all right? Now, when you get the questions, and I'm sure I probably sent this to you in my notes or whatever. I told you that I've got 3 rules. Number 1, okay, is RTFQ times 2, which means read the full question twice, okay? Read it twice. You can slow your mind down. Make sure you absolutely understand what it is that they're asking you, okay? There's always like, I always look at each question as like, it's like a lockbox, man. And you just got to find the right keyhole to put the key. You've got the key. It's up here. You just got to find the right keyhole because there's some key word. There's something in there. You got to, and then it unlocks the answer for you. There's something in there. Now, read the full question twice so you absolutely understand what the question is that they're asking you. Number 2, read all the answers. Here is what test writers will do to you. They will trick your brain with trick answers that are designed to make you trip. You don't want to trip, okay? And they'll do that in the beginning questions. If it's one of those types of questions or you're doing it to, they're going to try to trip you up there. So you won't even go to C or D because you'll just, oh, that's it right there. You know, right? You probably just screwed yourself up. So don't do that to yourself. Read them all. Then reread it. And make sure you absolutely agree with what you're saying. If you absolutely don't think you've got the right answer, then the military guy in me always says, when in doubt, Charlie out. Hit C, okay? When in doubt, Charlie out, and then click review because listen to me, you guys, your test is electronic. That means that every single one of your test questions can be reviewed and changed before you submit all of your tests. Now that's big. That's big because I'll give you a good example. I ride a motorcycle, okay? So I had to go get my motorcycle's license. I studied because I'm an instructor, man. I want to ace this thing and I'm going to get it, right? I teach all this stuff to my students about how to study, how to do things. I'm doing this. I'm going to read the question twice. I'm going to do all these things, right? I wanted to get it. So only difference is, guess what? I didn't have a review feature on that exam. And I got to a question I was not quite sure. I think it was A, but it might have been C. So when in doubt, I Charlied out. I hit C, right? And then 4 questions later, I got a piece of information in a totally different question that told me I chose the wrong answer. So I did not ace that exam. I missed 1, and that was the one. Now, here's the difference for you. We've all had this happen before. But the good news is this test has a review feature. So you don't get to click on a button and it gives you like hints. No, that's not what I'm saying. But something in a future question is going to give you a hint, right? And you're going to be able to go back, Teresa and Nigel, and you're going to say, "Oh man, thank you. That helps me." And then put a little note on your piece of paper, and then go back and change that test question to the right answer because you're going to get some type of information. So that's the big piece of overall on how the exam functions, okay? The second piece I want to talk to you about on questions is again, be very, very careful, okay? There are going to be this test, and if you look at this outline, you'll see why. I can tell you right now from past experience that my students that report back to me on how they did on the exam, I will ask them to send me the results. You know what I get? You know what the worst area is that people do on the exam? You ready for this? Nigel, you may not be surprised. You've been in the business before. Ethics. I know. I don't know what that says about us as mortgage people. No, it doesn't say anything about us, right? But surprise, surprise, ethics is the hardest part of the exam.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, but it's probably, Teresa, if you think about that, it's probably not that much of a surprise, though, because what's ethics? They're going to put you in situations, right? And they're going to say, okay, was that ethical? You know? And then you got to ask yourself, you know, or they'll put you in a situation that may sound shady, but it might be a little shady, but it's not necessarily illegal, you know, what they're doing. It's just, you know, maybe they didn't get somebody's permission. You know, let me give you an example. I'm going to give you an example, okay? So I'm going to ask a question two different ways to you, and I'm going to give you two separate types of answers to give you guys an idea of what I'm talking about here, okay? Okay, here we go. I'm going to set you up, okay? All right. A real estate agent holds an open house. As clients come to visit the home that she's selling, okay, she has them sign a guest registry with their contact information, name, phone number, or email address, whatever they choose. So they sign in, right? They look at the house, they leave. After the open house, the real estate agent meets with a local mortgage professional and sells the list of names and contact information to the mortgage loan originator. All right, I'll let you chew on that for a second. Got the situation in your head? Give me a verbal nod, Nigel. All right, here we go. Possible answers, you ready? Who violated RESPA? The real estate agent, the mortgage professional, neither or both. Now don't answer. Don't answer. Okay? I'm going to give you the same scenario again with a totally separate set of answers. You ready? A real estate agent holds an open house. She has guests who show up to the open house to look at the home she's selling, sign a guest registry, and leave their name and contact information, either phone number or email, whatever they choose. After the open house, she meets with the local mortgage professional and sells the list of names and contact information to the mortgage professional. Is this legal and ethical? Illegal, unethical? Legal but unethical? Unethical? Excuse me. What did I say? The other one. Legal, illegal but ethical. I think I said there we go. That was it. All right. So I gave you both. I give you the same scenario twice. Okay. Now, Teresa, Nigel, you two are going to agree to go on the spot for everybody else that's going to watch this video from this point forward. Okay. All right, Nigel, you get to go first. You ready? All right, Nigel. The first one I said, who violated RESPA? I said the real estate agent, that would be A. The mortgage loan originator, B. Neither, C. Or both, D. Or you can just give me the A. You don't have to give me A, B, C, or D. Was it the mortgage professional, the real estate agent, neither, or both? Take a guess.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say neither.
Okay, wait right there. Wait right there then. All right, Teresa, your turn. Okay. Teresa, is it legal and ethical, legal but unethical, illegal, unethical, illegal but ethical. I think I said those right. I don't know. They're all four mixed up. What's your thoughts?
I say it's both illegal and unethical.
Okay. All right. Now, this is a perfect example of a question that could be very ambiguous, right? And without your understanding of the law completely, right, as it relates to ethics, it can be very difficult. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, Teresa, it makes sense that your brain would say, oh, this has got to be illegal and unethical, right? It's actually legal, but it's unethical. Nigel, neither person violated RESPA Section 8. You are correct. So well done on that. What happened was, now it sounds shady, you guys, doesn't it? Right? Sounds shady, but what happened is these people are just out shopping for homes. They gave their contact information to the real estate agent, clearly knowing the real estate agent was probably going to call them back. Now, where the real estate agent, and in the question I didn't give you information was, it wasn't like the real estate agent said, oh, by the way, I'm going to have a local mortgage professional call you to try to pre-qualify you since you're out shopping for a home. That information was left out. That's where it's unethical, in my opinion. But there was nothing illegal about what was done because all they did was sell leads to somebody, right? Would you, Nigel, is that where your brain went? I bought leads.
Exactly. They're out shopping for a home. So
yeah, they're out shopping. Now, it would have been different had I said it like this. Had I said the real estate agent agreed to give the leads to the mortgage professional in exchange for a $500 referral fee on every transaction that closed. Now, Teresa, Nigel's going to change his answer to illegal, unethical. Or I'm sorry, he's going to say both violated RESPA. And Teresa, that makes your answer correct. Illegal, unethical. Does that make sense to both of you?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So the ethics questions can be very tricky, you guys, and it's all going to be situational based, you know, as far as when we're looking at these types of things. And, you know, you're really going to have to slow yourself down. The second area, too, that people do not so good in the exam is in the origination activities section. Okay. Now, origination activities and federal law are close seconds, very close. So that means now, Nigel, you'll probably have a little bit easier time with origination activities because you've got experience in the industry. You've been there before, even though you're coming back. And I will warn you, Nigel, don't lean on what you remember pre-crash. So, because I would tell you, I would tell both of you, there's a difference between real world and test world. Okay. There's a difference between real world and test world, okay? And so understand that as well. But those are the other two areas that people don't do very well. But again, if you'll follow my hack, look at the notes inside and out, make sure you understand everything conceptually, okay? If you don't, go back to your book. If you can't find in your book, make sure that you, when you look at that outline, you feel confident on all of the topics on the outline. And if you can't find it, again, in any of the other areas of information I've given you, drop down to the actual resources that they provide, click on those, hit Control F, and search for that topic until you can find that answer. That's what's going to be really, really, really important. I'm going to give you guys a couple more odd questions here, or questions that I can throw out at you. And again, I'm trying to find you some things that I've written here before. I try to write tricky questions, you know, where I can mess with you guys a little bit, where it kind of throws a little bit of a curveball at you, okay? All right. So one of the areas you guys are going to look at as well as you go to that study guide is it's going to talk about guidance on non-traditional mortgage products. Now, you guys probably remember that a non-traditional mortgage product is anything that is not a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. That's under the SAFE Act. That's the definition of a non-traditional mortgage. So anything that's not a 30-year fixed-rate loan is considered non-traditional. So Nigel, to you and me, being in the business before, we're like, whoa, wait, you're saying a 15-year mortgage? You know, Teresa, a 15-year mortgage is somehow non-traditional. Yeah, if it's not a 30-year fixed, it's non-traditional, okay? So that's something that's kind of confusing because you're thinking, no, because in your brain you're thinking conventional when you hear non-traditional, but that's not the same thing, okay? So anyway, so when you look at this guidance, you know, on non-traditional mortgages, things like that, that's going to be something you're going to want to pay attention. Where did I just put that? I just had something I was going to share with you. And well, I'll throw a different one out at you. Wait a minute. Let me check something. Okay, well, I'll have to throw a different one out at you. I had one that I was going to ask you, and then for some reason I just went to go do something and I lost. Oh, here it is. So it's about responsible type lending practices, okay? So you're going to have to listen to keywords. Now, here's a perfect example of listening to keywords, okay? Here we go. Nigel, you ready? And Teresa, here we go. Is it a responsible lending practice? So in other words, they start that question out asking your opinion, okay? Is it a responsible lending practice? If a mortgage broker arranges, so a mortgage broker originator, arranges for a client to obtain a mortgage loan that is co-signed, or is this considered a predatory practice? So basically they're saying, listen to what they're saying. You're a mortgage broker, okay? He's telling you that you probably need a co-signer on this loan, okay, on this mortgage loan. The question is this lending practice responsible, or is this considered predatory? Now, the key thing is, too, there was a key word in here. I said that, is it a responsible lending practice if a mortgage broker originator arranges for a client to obtain a co-signed mortgage, or is this considered predatory practice? Now, do brokers make loans or arrange loans? They arrange. So the question is set up okay for you to understand that they are talking about a mortgage broker here, okay? Now, let's say here's your possible answers. So is this considered a predatory practice, or is it responsible lending is what they're asking. So this is a very opinionated question, okay? A broker should never be involved in arranging financing structures such as this, as they are predatory. B, co-signed mortgages are more likely to become delinquent and are not a recommended practice for any broker. C, co-signed mortgages are not considered predatory and the broker is right to facilitate the arrangement. D, this is considered responsible but requires a contract addendum for the broker's actions in the capacity as a lender. Okay, first of all right, that last one, there was a word in there that automatically makes me disqualify that answer. Did you hear it? What was it?
The addendum?
The addendum to act as a lender.
Right.
Well, it already said in the question, it's a mortgage broker and he's arranging. Brokers arrange, they don't make loans. It never said anything about them trying to become a lender in this scenario. So an addendum for the broker to work in a capacity as a lender has nothing to do with this at all. That's gone. You got to find the ones that's like, and sometimes you guys, I will tell you, you might get one, you know, where nothing makes sense. There's something in there. You're missing it. You're missing a word in the question. You're missing a word in the potential answers. Sometimes you're going to have them, they all look the same, okay? But to me, D is gone. The addendum to act as a lender is out because he's not acting as a lender, okay? So that's gone. So we're back to A, B, or C, okay? So A says it's predatory. You should never be involved in arranging financing structures such as this. They're predatory. B just says they're more likely to become delinquent, so they're not a recommended practice. Well, ask yourself, is this a responsible lending practice or is this considered predatory? So does B is questionable to begin with because it doesn't really even give you the same structure. C, co-signed mortgages are not considered predatory and the broker is right to facilitate the arrangement. So to me, your best possible answers are coming down to A and C, because A says a broker should never be involved in arranging financing structures such as this. They're predatory. They're asking you, is this predatory? C, cosign mortgages are not considered predatory, and the broker's right to facilitate the arrangement. Now, what's your guess?
C.
See,
C is correct, because all you need, why do you need a cosigner? You need a cosigner maybe because your credit isn't, maybe you don't have enough credit established. Is it okay to have a cosigner on an auto loan, a cosigner on an FHA first-time home buyer loan? Sure, it's okay. It's not predatory. And whether or not those go delinquent later on, that it has no effect on whether or not what he's doing is responsible and whether or not it's predatory.
correct.
So, see what I'm getting at? So you really got to dig into these, you guys, when you get these types of questions. I mean, you got to dig. Okay? So,
Well, there's another question that I read, and this kind of alludes to your earlier statement about look further down the line on the exam, and you'll see another question that will answer your earlier question. Because one of the questions was, do loans where the child had a cosigner, what happens if the child stops making the payments?
yeah. Well, mom and dad's on the hook.
Right. So right there, though, you know that other situation was totally legal.
Right. Perfect, right? Because it tells you. Perfect. Let me try to give you something else. Here's an interesting one. Okay. And again, what I'm trying to drive home on these couple questions I'm just throwing at you. Ethics questions are based on your understanding of the law. There's almost always going to be a situation where you're going to have to ask yourself, you know, is this legal? What is the legal ramification? How does this function within the law? So let me give you a scenario. What action should a mortgage loan originator take if during a refinance involving a mother and a son, the MLO gets a feeling that the mother is hesitant about the refinance? Listen again, they're setting you up. And there's keys in here. There are keys. What action should an MLO take if during a refinance involving a mother and son, the MLO gets this weird feeling that the mother's hesitant about the refinance? Should the MLO A, ignore the situation, maybe a family matter? B, pull the mother aside to discuss? C, refer that transaction to your anti-money laundering department? D, pull the son aside to discuss? All right. What are your thoughts?
I would probably want to talk to both of them, make sure they were comfortable with the loan.
Now, okay, so Teresa, what are your thoughts?
Does it address whether it's a primary residence?
Oh, good job. Now, that's the question that popped in your head. Does it, Teresa? What
Yes,
action
sir.
should an MLO take if a refinance involving a mother and son, okay, the MLO gets a feeling mother's hesitant? Okay, now, that's a good point. Now, if it's a refi, okay, now you may have gone even deeper than what you should go. Okay. Is it a primary residence? What, if it is a primary residence, what happens, Teresa?
Well, there's a 3-day right of rescission, but I would be like Nigel, where I would want to talk to them at the same time and explain the 3-day right of rescission to them both, and also go so far as explain if one chooses to use this right of rescission, it applies to all parties. It's not an all or nothing thing. If one utilizes it, then that's it.
Okay. So, but you're stuck, you guys. You are in an exam right now. Your possible answers are, you don't have an option to pull them both aside. Your option is you either pull mom aside or you pull the son aside. You want to talk to both, right? So are those an option? I don't know. There's the other option. I'll just refer it to the anti-money laundering department. Is that your answer?
No.
That's not your answer. And your brain says, and your heart says, and every fiber in your body says, talk to mom and son. You need to talk to them both. That's not an option. You're taking an exam. What's your answer? Ignore the situation as it may be a family matter. Why do you ignore it? Why do I say that? Because the key word in the question I'm giving you is it's a refinance. And you were right, Teresa, to ask, is it primary? Because if it's primary, they get a right to rescind. So even if the mom is uncomfortable, she can cancel without the son being able to do anything. Is that correct? There you go. So now, it would have been helpful to say if it said during a refinance of a primary residence, right? That would have been even more helpful. But I didn't give you that information. Now, granted, I wrote this question so that it did have some ambiguity to it, okay? It did make you kind of think, and then I knew your brain is going to say, well, I should probably talk to both of them. Well, that's not an option. Then that means neither one of those are the answer. Because you can't talk to one and not talk to the other. That's not really going to work out. So the answer is, as far as I'm concerned, how I wrote that question is you ignore it. It's a family matter because it's got a refi. The refi is the key word. You got a 3-day right to rescind. Either one of them can cancel at any point in time. Does that make sense? So those are the types of things that I want you to be very careful of. And then don't let things, one more, I'll give you another one. I'm not going to give you a question. I'm going to give you kind of a concept. Here's another thing that tricks our brain. All of the following apply except. And I don't know what it is, you guys, but for some reason, test takers throughout time struggle with this idea, all of the following apply except. Or none of the following apply except, right? So here's the deal. I'm going to give you guys the most unbelievable tip I can give you, and it goes all the way back to when you were a child. Or maybe you have children checking this out these days, right? You remember a little show called Sesame Street? Sesame Street taught you a long time ago how to answer this question. Because when you see all of the following apply except, you need to immediately take yourself back to Sesame Street and say, oh, one of these things is not like the other. Because it's a group. Something doesn't belong in the group. Now, granted, it's not going to be quite as easy as Sesame Street. It's not like you're going to get an apple, a banana, a pear, and a horse-drawn buggy. I get it. It's going to be a little bit more difficult than that. But conceptually, when you see all of the following apply except, you need to say to yourself, one of these things is not like the other. Okay? All right, you guys, we are at our hour time limit. However, I'm going to open it up real quick to see if there's any questions I can ask for you. You can ask of me, answer for you. Go ahead. Teresa, I'll start with you.
Actually, no, I don't have anything specific yet.
Okay, good. Now, you know you can reach out to me and anybody who ends up watching this afterwards. And Teresa, by the way, Teresa and Nigel, thank you so much for doing this with me because you guys are going to help so many other Warriors One originators down the road by allowing me to put you guys on here with me. I have your permission, right? I'm asking now afterwards, but I got to get this on video.
Yeah, you have my permission.
Teresa?
And if I say no, just teasing, of course.
Oh, my gosh.
That would be an ethical violation.
Yeah, that would be totally unethical. Nigel, what questions do you have? Anything else?
I don't have anything at the moment, but I'll shoot you an email if I come up with something.
Yeah, if you guys come up with anything, you're running through some stuff and struggling. Now, I'll just tell you guys and everybody else who watches it in the future, I do a lot of travel as well. I was actually in Arkansas last week and then in Kentucky, but I am here for the next couple of weeks, and then I'm out to like 6 different cities for 6 different weeks. I'm a little slow sometimes on the draw on the email, but I will get back to you. What I don't want to see from anybody on this webinar or future viewers of this, please do not send me a bunch of test questions of what you missed on my practice exam. Say, well, what are the answers to these 58 questions that I missed? You're not going to get a response from me other than, really? All right. So again, Nigel, Teresa, I want to thank you guys so much for coming on and helping me do this for everybody.
There is something, a comment I just wanted to make.
Go for it.
And it has to do with the fact that these multiple agencies have these time frames that sometimes only vary by a day. You know, you've got 25 days with one outfit, and then 2 weeks on another one, and it's like, wow, why don't they just make it all 2 weeks?
It would be great, wouldn't it? It would be great if all the timelines matched up, you know? Now, in your notes, I did create like a quick reference chart for you guys on the days and times and the ones that are probably more important. And it's more than likely you'll see the same types of things in the outline on the ones that are important to you. But man, I agree with you. It'd be so awesome if they would just get it together and we all had the same timeline for all the things. Because why is this document going out within 3 days, but this one didn't have to be given until here, and then this one goes here, and it's a confusing mess.
Yeah, it needs to be a little more standardized so that it's a little easier to wrap people's head around.
Yeah, it would be fantastic. But you know, maybe someday we'll see that happen. But right now, it's a bowl of spaghetti, you know, in some instances. But you got to get in that spaghetti bowl, you guys, and you got to find those meatballs because they're in there. All right, I promise you. All right, if you have any questions from here, you know how to reach me, Aaron, at my mortgage trainer. Again, Nigel, Teresa, thank you so much for doing this, not only just for me, but for all of the mortgage loan originators out there that are going to see this and view this. I will send you your royalty checks at a later date. But as I said, this was free. So, all right, love you guys. Take care. I will see you soon. Let me know how your testing goes, as always. And I'll see you hopefully soon in a CE webinar after you get your license. And don't forget to join Cheddar Stacks. They'll teach you how to make a whole bunch of money, build you a big old network. Actually just launched one with 23 people, one loan officer, 23 other people, and they're all throwing leads to that one loan officer through a mobile app. Fantastic. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the flip side. Have a great day, and thank you so much for participating.
Great. Thank you, Aaron.
Good luck. You're welcome. Bye-bye.